So back to the other direction is when you initially got that beam to project on you. You said you were using it was like 1 foot tall, or what was it, 3x1?
Oh, in the picture?
Yeah.
7 inches tall and about 1.5 inches on each side.
And there were 3 sides to it.
Yes.
And then how did you, because it was a prism, or was it a pyramid?
It was a prism, a vertical prism.
Okay. So you were able to just twist it until you got the light to focus on you. Because you have to use one flat side as the collector, and then it beams it into the points, into the tip, correct?
Yeah. Well, and to achieve that, I used a mirror because the sun was very low on the horizon in the morning, and it was taken on Christmas Day, so we were very, very close to the solstice.
I was going to say, wow, that's cool.
And so the angle of deflection is what it's called, and it's a law that whatever the angle is of the sun coming into the prism is the same angle that it exits the prism. So it's if the angle is real low, then the color band's going to be very low too. So I put a mirror on the ground, and then it hit that and reflected up, and then I adjusted my body position to get the color band about right where I wanted it. But if you go, the further away you go, then it's called dispersion, then the color band gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And probably not as vivid, right?
Yeah.
So
no artist has, at least in modern time, has ever had a prism this large to work with, ever. Then one of the next things I want to do is make the largest prism in the world, but I haven't been able to find out what that is. AI couldn't find out what that is, and nobody that I have talked to, people that are way, way better at doing research than I am, nobody can come up with what the largest prism in the world is.
That's interesting.
So if anybody out there is listening and you can tell me that, I would love to know.
Did you look in Guinness World Book of Records?
I would think that information, no, I didn't, but
Ken, just for goose and giggles, if you can, Google it. Chase down the Guinness World Book of Records and see if there's a prism in there. That might be fun to see.
I don't think there is. But yeah, prisms are fascinating. But one of the things that the visible color spectrum is just what our apparatus the apparatus of our body sees.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's just a drop in the bucket on the electromagnetic spectrum.
And I would tend to agree with you that we have a lot more to learn about.
Oh, yeah. One of the things, that I read this very interesting book some years ago, a friend of mine loaned me. And that's where I first ran across the concept that insects, a lot of insects see in infrared. And so a lot of insects cannot metabolize sugar. So when they fly over a field and they look down, if the plant's healthy, then it'll have a lot of sugar in the leaves and in it generally. And so when they see that frequency, they just fly on by because they know it would kill them, just instinctually.
And that has always been such a big argument specifically in the cannabis community, that less so with some of the plant pathologists and some of the other science and wings, but I've always had an understanding that there had to be a connection between bricks and specifically insect infestations. Like, we know, like, if the plant's really sick, it's going to attract these insects, and we do understand that insects are the great recycler. They're there to remove something that is unhealthy for the consumption by other animals up the food chain. So there had to have been a correlation, but again, it's been one of those things that everybody argues about and says, "Oh, that's BS." That the insects can't see that, or they can't smell that, and so and another argument was radar, like they're pinging it, and I'm like, that doesn't jive with me. It has to be something like what you're talking about, where they're seeing in a different spectrum that we can't see in.